Many people are on the fence right now as to whether or not to buy a home, whether it be one that they're going to live in or an investment property. We had a huge crash in 2008, and they might be wondering what would happen if they were to buy one, and then there would be some sort of crash like that. Hey guys, my name is Christian. I've been in the mortgage industry since 2001, and I've worked every position up to being an owner of a company, and I've also bought and sold many properties. So in this video, I'm going to share my story of when I purchased a home at almost the very top of the market just before the crash back in 2008. I bought this property in 2006 and it sat on the market for a little bit. And again, this was the market was kind of going crazy at that particular time. So I couldn't figure out why this home was just sitting. Square footage was great. I walked through it and there it was. Bright pink walls. I should do another video about why I like pink walls when I go through a house. Anyway, so bright pink walls, and the carpet was really horrible and just dirty and didn't fit for this style of property. So I happened to go over to the carpet and I peeled it back and looked underneath it, and there it was, some hardwood floors. So we had pink walls and this really ugly, dirty carpet. So then I thought, okay, this is why nobody wants to buy it. Even though everything else, the square footage is great, the location is great, all that stuff is great, this is why nobody wants to buy it. So I go ahead and I purchase it, and with the intent of selling it in about 3 to 6 months. I'm gonna renovate it, I'm gonna sell it, it's gonna be great, right? So I get in there, I paint the walls, more of a neutral tone. I peel back the carpet, I have somebody come in and refinish the hardwood. So things were a little cheaper then. But for a total of $4,000, I had repainted the home and refinished the hardwood floors. It looked like a completely different property. In fact, people came into the property and they go, give us the list of everything that you did. This looks completely different. Paint, hardwood floor. That was it. So it took me a few months to get all of that done because I was busy, and I was doing some of the work myself. Well, mostly painting. I was doing that, but the hardwood floors, I hired that out because I'm terrible at finishing hardwood, and there's others that are amazing at it. So anyways, it took a couple months to do that, and then I get ready to sell, and then all of a sudden you have all the news headlines. Properties are crashing, nobody wants to buy, these homes are sitting on the market forever. Oh my gosh, what do you do, right? And so the rental market was still pretty strong, okay? And so this property had two separate units. So it had an upstairs unit that was about 2,200 square feet, had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a giant living room, really cool outdoor patio. And then the bottom level had a 2-bedroom apartment, right? So everything was kind of separate, had its own separate entrance. Great. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got to make sure that this payment gets covered, and I've got to just wait this thing out. That's kind of one of the great things about real estate is you can decide when you sell it, right? So, 6 months after I bought it, the value had dropped quite a bit. But I had renters in top and renters in bottom. So I was able to just kind of sit it out and wait. So even as the values kept dropping, if I had been forced to sell, I would have had a problem. But like I said, with real estate, you have options, right? So I had a renter in top and bottom, and I waited several years for the market to come back. I mean, had I known what happened now, I probably would have kept it a little bit longer, right? So I bought that in 2006. I ended up selling it in 2016. So 10 years later, right? A little longer than my 6-month plan, but let me give you the numbers. I bought the home for $240,000, right? You can't buy those these days. It was 3,500 square feet. You can't find that these days, but I bought it for $240,000. During the 10 years that I had it, as far as rent goes, so if I take the rent that I received over and above the payments that I had, and I subtract out any repairs or any vacancies, stuff like that I had, I ended up netting $60,000 in positive cash flow over the course of that 10 years. And then in 2016 is when I sold it. I mean, obviously, if I would have waited, right? But 2016, I sold it for $375,000. Okay, so I had some real estate commissions that I had to pay there, but all in all, I made $60,000 on the rents, and then I made an additional $120,000 after I sold the property. So that's $180,000 in profit that I had on this property when I bought it at the extreme peak, and we had the biggest crash in my lifetime, right? And so it still worked out. And that's the great thing about real estate is you can decide when you sell it. There's never been a time when it hasn't come back, right? What we're going through right now, it's not expected to be that big of a drop. And in fact, if you look at, history and recessions and see what happens with values. A lot of times they stay pretty stable. Sometimes they'll dip slightly. This one could be a little bit different, but it's way different than in 2008. See, in 2008, we had all these mortgages that came due at the same time. And I had a property that was a little bit affected by that as well, where kind of a similar situation. I bought it with planning on having it just a short amount of time, and the payment doubled on it in the 2 years that I had it, right? And it's because there were some bad mortgages out there. We don't have that today. So that's why, a lot of people are thinking it might still be relatively stable. I know news headlines and all that are talking about this 40, 50% crash, but that's to get headlines. That's not what the experts are saying. So anyways, I just wanted to share this story so you guys can know that if you're looking about buying property and you're thinking about it, the market dropping, you're worried about that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose money. You just might have to change up strategy a little bit. So make sure you understand your strategy and you'll be fine. You can't time the market and buy perfectly. And in fact, those who try to time the market end up losing out, because what happens is they keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And then what happens is, you get to the bottom and then they're still waiting, and then it starts going up, right? And then they're thinking, well, wait a minute, this probably isn't really going up yet. It's probably going to drop again. So I'm going to wait and wait and wait. And then they start pricing themselves out of the market, and then they lose out, right? So again, it's the nice thing about real estate is you get to decide when you sell it. So if you bought something today, and in a year from now, the timing is not right to sell it, you rent it out and you wait for the right time to sell it. And then you can still make quite a bit of money on it. So anyways, hope this video was helpful for you guys. Please be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.